In April of 2010, a single punch outside a pub in Bargoed left Gerwyn Price with a brain hemorrhage and 42 stitches across his face, and plenty of people quietly assumed that was the end of him. It wasn't, and the reason it wasn't has almost nothing to do with darts. Behind the world champion stands a wife who met him at 17, 2 daughters he guards from the world with everything he has, and a small circle of people most fans have never even heard named. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why Gerwyn Price says the trophies were never really the point. One quick thing first, because the internet butchers this constantly. Plenty of articles will tell you Price has several sons, and that is simply false, because he has 2 daughters and no sons at all. You'll also see his wife listed as Bethany Price, which is wrong as well, since her name is Bethan. Every one of those details gets cleared up properly, with sources as we go. Understanding his family means starting with the man himself, so that's where we'll begin. Gerwyn Stephen Price arrived on the 7th of March 1985 in Markham, a small village tucked into the Caerphilly County Borough, deep in the South Wales valleys. Here's the detail that tells you who he is though. More than 40 years later, he still lives in that same village because the boy from Markham never felt the need to leave it. Most darts fans know him as the Iceman, but far fewer know where that name came from. Price walked onto the stage in his early days with no nickname at all until a friend heard his walk-on music, Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby, and suggested the Iceman off the back of it. He's actually the second player in the sport to carry the title, following Alan Warren a little, and in late 2025 he retired Ice Ice Baby altogether in favour of a newer walk-on track, Nice to Meet You by Miles Smith. Long before any of the darts though, there was rugby, and Price took it seriously. Lining up as a hooker, he earned representative honours for Wales at under 21 level, played Welsh Premier Division rugby for Neath and then Cross Keys, and even spent a brief stretch with Glasgow Warriors as injury cover. The peak of that career landed in the 2011 to 2012 season, when Cross Keys lifted the WRU Challenge Cup and Price crossed for a try in the final at Cardiff's Millennium Stadium. Rugby League pulled him in too, with appearances for the South Wales Scorpions and Blackwood Bulldogs, alongside caps for Wales Dragonhearts. That rugby background matters to the family story, because Price has been strikingly honest about the kind of young man he used to be. Speaking in the 2022 ITV4 documentary Against the Odds, he put it like this: "I'd have Wales under 18 rugby training on a Sunday morning and I'd be out until 1 AM or 2 AM drinking, which anybody knows at that level or at that profession you cannot do it. Whenever I used to go out, for some reason I'd used to attract trouble or attention from the wrong people. I think I used to be a terror for my mum and dad, bless them." Those weren't empty words either. Back in 2003, a court found him guilty of an unprovoked attack on a stranger in a Blackwood pub, and the trouble he kept attracting nearly cost him everything in April of 2010. Outside the Plasnovid pub in Bargoed, Price was attacked and left with a brain haemorrhage, needing 42 stitches across his forehead, another 5 to his chin, and treatment for nerve damage to his eyebrow. His attacker drew a 12-month jail sentence, while Price himself received a suspended sentence for assaulting that same man on the same evening. So picture the backdrop here: a genuinely gifted athlete, a young man who couldn't stay out of trouble, and a single punch outside a pub that very nearly ended the whole story before it started. Through every bit of it, one person stayed constant, and her name is Bethan. Gerwyn Price and Bethan Palmer met as 17-year-olds in their shared hometown of Markham, which dates their meeting to somewhere around 2002 or 2003. That timing matters because it means Bethan was already there before the rugby, before the pub attack, before darts, before any of the things people now associate with his name. Let's be precise about who she is. Her name is Bethan Palmer and Bethan Price after the wedding, not Bethany, and certainly not Joanne, a name a few unreliable websites have invented. The Sun confirms it, the official darts database confirms it, and UK Companies House confirms it through the public record where she sits as a co-director of his company. The wedding came in 2018 and the couple chose Markham itself, the very place they'd met 16 years earlier. The Sun summed it up cleanly, reporting that the pair tied the knot in 2018 in the same place that they met. An exact date within that year has never been reliably confirmed, so we won't pretend to know it. As for how Price talks about her, his own words land best. Marking their first wedding anniversary in 2019, he wrote this on Instagram: "Happy first anniversary to the most amazing wife you could ever wish for, Bethan Price. There's not many women that would be as understanding, easygoing, and supportive. Love you forever." That word supportive keeps resurfacing, and it carries more weight than a nice anniversary post. Bethan reportedly worked as a hairdresser earlier on, but her role today is far more interesting than that. The Sun reports that Bethan works as a sports manager and as an advisor for her famous husband, and the public record backs up a version of that, listing her as a co-director of Gerwyn Price Limited, his personal company. A note of caution belongs here because Bethan guards her privacy fiercely. Her Instagram account stays locked to the public and she gives no interviews, which means the sports manager description comes from press reporting rather than from Bethan herself, and will treat it exactly that way. The documented fact, though, stands firm. She sits on the board of his company, which makes Bethan Price in a real and legal sense one of Gerwyn Price's business partners. We'll return to that shortly. One more piece rounds out the picture of Bethan, and again, Price said it best himself. Talking to The Guardian, he explained his early motivation in plain terms. "I wasn't bothered about winning tournaments at the beginning. I just wanted to win enough money so I could stay on the tour and earn a living for my family. Not trophies, not glory, just a living for his family." Hold on to that line because it threads through everything that follows. Let's put the question to rest for good. Gerwyn Price has 2 children, both of them daughters, a fact confirmed by Wikipedia, The Sun, Yahoo Sports, the Caerphilly Observer, and the official darts database. Anyone insisting he has sons is flatly mistaken. The elder daughter, Emily Price, was born in 2006, and her younger sister Bethany Price followed 4 years later in 2010. Run the math on that, and you realise Price was already a father of 2 by the time he even considered Q School in 2014. This wasn't a carefree young man chasing a dream with nothing on the line. This was a dad with 2 kids at home taking a serious gamble. His daughters travel with him in a permanent way because Price has the names and birth dates of both girls tattooed onto his arms. Life as the child of a darts villain carries a darker edge though, and the family ran straight into it in 2018. Following Price's controversial Grand Slam of darts. Win that year, a controversy we'll unpack in a moment. Online trolls didn't stop at targeting Gerwyn. They turned on Emily, who was only 12 years old at the time, flooding her with abusive messages on Twitter. Price's public response drew a hard line in the sand. "I mean, come on, my daughter is 12 years of age. I don't mind the trolling myself. I can take it like I do week after week. But this is not on what a pathetic human being, if that's what you can call him. Could I get some retweets and some followers to report this bloke and get him kicked off Twitter? Much appreciated. Abuse aimed at him. He'll absorb without complaint." Abuse aimed at a 12-year-old is the exact point where the Iceman stops being icy. By 2026, Emily has reached roughly 19 or 20, and Bethany sits around 15 or 16. Past that, the family keeps the girls' lives genuinely private, their schooling, their hobbies, all of it, and we're going to honour that, since anything more specific simply isn't reliably verified. That gives us the full household: Gerwyn, Bethan, Emily and Bethany, all of them in Markham. Now let's turn to the other half of the title, the business partners. Ask who Gerwyn Price's business partner actually is, and you won't get one tidy answer, because there are several layers to it. Let's walk through them one at a time. The first business partner, as we've already seen, is Bethan herself, who serves as a co-director of Gerwyn Price Limited. That company came into existence on the 24th of May 2016, registered at Companies House under number 10196-871, with Gerwyn and Bethan named as its 2 directors and other sports activities listed as its line of work. Sitting above it is a holding company called Beth Property Limited, a name that blends M and Beth, almost certainly a quiet nod to Emily and Bethan. By the time of the 2021 confirmation statement, Gerwyn Price Limited held cash of roughly £873,000 and total assets of around £1 million. The second layer is professional management, handled by an agency called Off Limits Sport. We know this straight from his own Instagram bio, which states that he is managed by Off Limits Sport, with all inquiries pointed to an email address beginning with the name Jason. Off Limits Sport Limited is a UK registered company, number 13394-819, incorporated on the 13th of May 2021 and based in Stevenage. The Jason in that email address is almost certainly Jason Brightman, a director of the agency, which means Bethan handles the inner circle while Off Limits Sport handles the professional representation. A third layer belongs to the man who opened the door to the sport in the first place, and arguably he counts as the most important business partner of all, even though nothing about it was ever formal. His name is Barry Bates, a Welsh darts professional who kept pushing Price to enter Q School. Strip Bates out of the story, and the darts career never happens. Price's own account of that moment is coming up shortly. Then comes his partner on the hockey for Wales, Johnny Clayton, the darts star from Llanelli. Price and Clayton formed a regular Welsh pairing at the World Cup of Darts, and they've been a properly successful team, lifting the World Cup together in 2020 and again in 2023. After that 2023 final, Price summed up the partnership with a grin, saying, "Gary hates him, but I love him. I've carried him a few years, but he carried me. What a player." Last come the commercial partners, the sponsors, and the biggest of them is Red Dragon Darts, the company behind his signature darts. It's a fitting match, because the very first PDC title prize ever claimed back in 2015 came at Red Dragon's own Champion of Champions event. Beyond Red Dragon, his sponsor list across the years has featured Valley Water Services, Dragons RFC, Vans Direct, Stevely Windows, Tough Stuff, the Marshall Group, CCF, and more recently Empower Competitions. Put all of it together, and the Gerwyn Price business partner turns out to be no single person at all. It's a wife on the board, a management agency, an old friend who unlocked the door, a teammate who shares the trophies, and a brand that's been alongside him from the very start. The most personal venture of the lot, though, has nothing to do with darts. It's a fish and chip shop. Gerwyn Price is, in the most literal sense, a businessman inside his own village. He's put money into property in Markham, which explains why the holding company carries the name Bethan Property Limited, and at one stage he ran a cafe there too. The cafe struggled though, and at the end of 2023, Price addressed it without any spin. The cafe is not doing too good at the minute. Sometimes business is a little bit up and down, so the cafe is going to shut. I'm opening a fish and chip / kebab shop. Turn the cafe into a flat. It's a small village, it's all about footfall in the village. He followed through on every word. February of 2024 brought the opening of a fish and chip shop in Markham, set up inside a former pharmacy on Abernant Road after Caerphilly Council granted planning permission for the conversion. The name he picked could only have come from a darts player because he called it Chippy 501 after the 501 score that opens every leg of darts. Here's the detail that darts fans will love. Price has openly admitted that checking in on his chippy actually distracts him during matches, and yet he says he loves it anyway because it pulls his mind away from the throwing. A world champion standing between legs thinking about the fryer. That's the family business empire in full, modest, local and rooted entirely in Markham. Now let's look at what pays for it. Verified numbers only in this section, nothing inflated. Across his PDC career, Gerwyn Price has banked £4,416,803 in prize money, a figure logged by dartsdatabase.co.uk as of May 2026. The single largest payday of that career was the £500,000 he collected for winning the 2021 World Championship, a sum confirmed directly by the PDC. Net worth is a different matter, always an estimate rather than a precise figure. Pull together the consensus from Sportscasting, Bet365 and Coming Soon, and Gerwyn Price's net worth lands somewhere around £2.5 to £3 million as of 2025. Wilder claims do circulate, with some tabloid sites throwing out figures as high as $20 million, and those are unverified, so we're setting them aside. The honest answer is a few £1,000,000 built from prize money, sponsorship, and those local businesses. Worth keeping in mind here is what Price actually said his goal was: simply earning enough to keep his family on tour. He has cleared that bar comfortably. Here's the story of how he got there. January of 2014 took Gerwyn Price to PDC qualifying school, and by his own admission, he wasn't treating it as anything serious. This is how he described it to Sky Sports. "I was just going to Q School for a jolly really, to support the boys who had tried Q School numerous times. Obviously I was going to give it a good crack and seeing how well I could play against better players. I was playing against the Gwent County players and the boys who played Welsh International for the BDO circuit, and I was beating them all. I was like, I'm not too bad at this. I was always a rugby player. That was all I wanted to do, so I kept putting it off, and then in 2014 I decided to take the plunge. Take the plunge he did, winning 6 matches and sealing his tour card with a 5-3 victory over Roby John Rodriguez. That same year, 2014, he walked away from rugby for good. The following year delivered his first PDC title at the Red Dragon Champion of Champions. By 2016 he had climbed into the sport's top 32, and 2017 brought his first major final at the UK Open. November of 2018 then handed him his first Grand Slam of darts, won with a 16-13 result over Gary Anderson, and he defended that crown in 2019. The year 2020 added the World Grand Prix to his collection, along with the first of his World Cup titles partnering Johnny Clayton. Everything changed on the 3rd of January 2021. Beating Gary Anderson 7-3 at Alexandra Palace, Price won the PDC World Championship while averaging 100.08 in the final, becoming the first Welshman ever to take the title and the first Q School graduate to do it as well. Here is what he told the PDC that night. "This means everything to me. It means the world. I've never felt pressure like that in my life. It was so tough to hit that winning double, but the feeling after doing it is so difficult to explain. I'm the world champion. It's unbelievable. I'm proud to be world number 1 too. It's probably even tougher to achieve that than it is to become world champion." A man who turned up at Q School for a jolly stood 7 years later as the number 1 player on the planet. February of 2022 then produced one of the great individual nights in Premier League history, when Price landed 2 9-dart finishes in a single evening in Belfast, closing the night with an overall average of 107.58. Price's story has never been a clean one though, and the other side of it deserves its own section. To a large slice of the darts audience, Gerwyn Price is the pantomime villain of the sport, and the 2018 Grand Slam was the moment it all ignited. Through that tournament, Price's conduct on stage, first against Simon Whitlock and then against Gary Anderson in the final, caused genuine uproar, built on heavy gamesmanship, oversized celebrations, and a final that boiled over to the point where Anderson physically pushed him. The Darts Regulation Authority responded with force. January of 2019 brought a total fine of £21,500 and a 3-month suspended ban, though that fine dropped to £11,500 on appeal. Anderson, by contrast, walked away with nothing more than a formal warning, with the DRA ruling that he had been significantly provoked. Sky Sports pundit Wayne Mardle captured the mood of many watching, putting it this way: "It got beyond a darts match. It got ridiculous in the end. You shouldn't be touching other players. You shouldn't be backing in, pushing. Gerwyn Price pushes the buttons of other players, that is a fact." The controversy hasn't stayed confined to the Oki either. More recently, Price has grown unusually political for a darts player, publicly backing Reform UK and Wales, both during the Caerphilly by-election of October 2025 and again ahead of the Senedd election in May 2026. That stance drew real criticism in the Welsh media, and Nation.Cymru went as far as fact-checking him after he wrongly blamed Plaid Cymru for school transport cuts that a Labour-controlled Caerphilly council had actually decided. His defenders frame it as a man simply entitled to his political opinion, while his critics counter that a public figure ought to get his facts straight. We'll leave that one for you to weigh. So, where does the Gerwyn Price family sit in 2026? At 41 years old, Gerwyn is ranked around number 8 in the world, a step down from the number 1 position he held 3 separate times between 2021 and 2022. His 2026 World Championship ended in a round 2 upset, a 3-0 defeat to Wessel Neiman. He remains a force in the Premier League regardless, even claiming a night in Dublin by beating Luke Littler, Luke Humphreys and Nathan Aspinall. He has also pulled out of the 2026 World Cup of Darts, the second withdrawal in 3 years, citing his health. Ahead of the Leeds Premier League night, he framed it bluntly, saying, "Health-wise, I'm not in a great place at the moment, but I'm battling on, searching for some results." And the family itself? Gerwyn and Bethan remain married, still settled in Markham. Emily is now in her late teens, Bethany in her mid-teens. Chippy 501 keeps on serving, and Gerwyn Price Limited stays active, with Bethan still on the board. That's the family standing behind the Iceman, and it was never a tale of celebrity glamour. It's the story of a wife named Bethan, who met Gerwyn Price when they were both 17 and stayed through the rugby, the pub attack, the troubled years, the darts gamble, and the world title, and who today holds a seat on the board of his company. It's the story of 2 daughters, Emily and Bethany, both born before he ever held a tour card, both inked onto his arms, and both fiercely shielded the moment the trolls arrived. and it's the story of a whole web of business partners, an agency, an old friend named Barry Bates, a teammate named Johnny Clayton, a sponsor in Red Dragon, and a fish and chip shop named after a darts score. Think back to what Gerwyn Price always said his goal was. Not trophies, not the #1 ranking, just enough money so I could stay on the tour and earn a living for my family. He stumbled into becoming a world champion almost by accident after wandering into Q school for a jolly. The family, though, was never an accident because the family was the entire point all along. If this deep dive was your kind of thing, drop a comment telling us who you'd like us to cover next, and we'll see you at the Oki.